Good evening, and thank you for joining us on UpNorthLive Unscripted. Cody Bear in for Melissa this evening, joining you. And we, of course, have Ethan Foreman in the building as well. Ethan, it's been a pretty mixed bag for folks today across northern Michigan. What can folks expect tonight?
Yeah, well, we have some freezing fog in parts of the area tonight, and that's leading to some slick roadways in spots. We'll also see that freezing rain, snow, and sleet all move in tonight as well. It'll be just rain for some. And as we look over Mackinac City this evening, that fog pretty thick in spots, likely going to lead to icy conditions. So make sure you give yourself extra time if you must be out tonight. Then as we look at our satellite and radar, we're continuing to see those clouds build in after a good deal of sunshine most of the day today, but that will gradually fade away, and we'll see those clouds moving in ahead of our next storm system, bringing some wintry weather to the area with winter storm warnings for the tip of the mitt and in the eastern upper peninsula for mostly snow and sleet. Those areas in winter weather advisories through 7 p.m. on Wednesday, with the exception of a few southern areas. That's where we'll see some freezing rain potential. I'll tell you how much we could see in your full forecast.
We start with an update out of Lansing. Kids these days are dealing with a lot of things older generations maybe didn't have to. Cell phones, social media, AI, technology that lawmakers in Lansing and child advocates say have a darker and sometimes more dangerous side. Today, as our Mark Shillette reports, they spoke out and are calling for change.
It is clear that our kids are facing a whole new set of challenges.
And many of those challenges, according to this group of Michigan senators and child advocates, come from a single source.
That's the ever-changing presence of technology and social media.
Concerns raised about big tech and the impact on our smallest residents.
And big tech companies know that our children are incredibly vulnerable to their exploitative algorithms, but continue to profit, leaving our kids glued to their screens with no remorse or accountability. It is our job as lawmakers to increase protections for Michigan's children.
A job they say they address in a series of proposed Senate bills in Lansing.
Together, we're going to put kids over clicks, and we're going to put a stop to big tech's unethical practices that have endangered kids from across our state.
The bills cover a wide range of tech concerns, addressing what they claim are addictive algorithms, limited privacy restrictions, a lack of parental controls, and overreaching AI, which they claim can all have devastating impacts.
These AI chatbots are not just blurring emotional boundaries with our kids, they're quite literally emboldening minors to engage in self-harming behaviors, illegal activities, sexually explicit interactions, and they've even led some teenagers to death by suicide. This is absolutely disturbing and unacceptable.
What the legislation does is attempt to limit the impact and empower parents as much as possible.
Parents will have the ability to manage their children's privacy and account settings, restrict purchases and financial transactions of their children on social media platforms, view the total time their children have spent online, and place reasonable limits on their screen time.
They say it's about turning the tables on big tech.
This legislation is about putting our children's safety ahead of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg's huge paycheck.
And in the process, empowering Michigan parents and protecting Michigan kids.
This much-needed legislation is reasonable, responsible, and realistic, and represents an important step toward keeping kids safer when they scroll on their phones.
Mark Shillette reporting the series of bills have been introduced in the Senate and referred to committee. Similar legislation is in the works on the House side. We'll monitor their progress and keep you updated. A group of veterans spent time at Boyne Mountain Ski Resort today, where they took part in an adaptive ski clinic, enjoying ski and snowboarding lessons. Here's some video captured on the slopes. The clinic was through the nonprofit Simplify and America's Fund. The goal of the organization is to help injured veterans reconnect with physical activity as part of their healing journey. Jeremy Boston is one of 4 veterans who participated. He shares that he's a right below knee amputee. Boston says he's already a proficient snowboarder, and today he wanted to learn how to ski. He's able to ski because he has a prosthetic foot that clips right into the binding.
For me, winter sports in general, huge for my mental health, huge for the camaraderie that you had in the military that you don't really get, especially in this area. It's not a huge veteran and active duty community. So being able to meet veterans in the local community, huge for that camaraderie to be able to keep those connections and build them further.
Boston says he is picking up this second skill to be able to teach his own adaptive ski and snowboarding lessons. Looking ahead to this weekend, Empire Winterfest is returning this Saturday in Leelanau County. Empire Winterfest includes many events for folks to enjoy, including a polar plunge as seen in these pictures. Now joining us to talk more about Winterfest is Jerry Schiffman with the Empire Area Community Center. Jerry, thanks so much for joining us. And let's start by talking a little bit more about Winterfest. You know, it is a longer schedule of events. It's not just that polar plunge that we saw there.
That's correct. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, festivities will begin at 9 a.m. With yoga at the Township Hall in downtown Empire. From 11 to 3, the Friends of the Library will host a book sale at the Glen Lake Community Library. At 1 o'clock, brave souls and spectators will gather down at South Bar Lake, down at the beach, north end of the beach parking lot, for our famous polar plunge to begin. Cut through the hole in the frozen lake. There will also be a Northern Heat sauna and Sleeping Bear sauna. We'll have saunas set up down there, open to the public for free use from 12:30 to 3. So people can come and enjoy a sweat down at the lake as well. And then from 2 to 5, Grocer's Daughter Chocolate Shop will be hosting events. Tiffany's Cafe in downtown Empire, ice cream shop as well, will also be open for activities. Both will be serving some hot beverages. Grocer's Daughter will have some other chocolate treats and such. Grocer's Daughter will also be having a fire pit in their play area outside, serving s'mores and a lot of special drink specials inside their shop as well, if you want to get out from the weather for a little bit. This year, both the National Park Service and Leelanau Conservancy are joining the activities. There's going to be a viewing of Island Life, the story of North Manitou Island, which will be screened indoors at the National Park Visitor Center at 11 a.m. And then at 2:30, docents from the Leelanau Conservancy will be hosting a snowshoe hike through Chippewa Run property. Could be snowshoes, could be mud boots. Come prepared for either. Parking will be available on Fisher Street near the recycling drop-off. I want people to know that. The banks did get pretty high around Chippewa Run in their parking lot on 22, so that's going to be the best spot to come to. In the evening, there's going to be a soup and potluck at the Empire Township Hall. That'll be going from 5 to 7. Music will be provided by Charlie Arnett. He is a singer-songwriter based in Traverse City, and his repertoire includes mixes of originals and feel-good covers.
Now, Jerry,
yes,
if you don't mind me interrupting, as you're going through these events, can we talk super quickly just about how, you mentioned, these are free. Why is it important for you guys to do something that everyone can go to, that is free, to do these kind of events?
Community. It's all about community, and we want everyone and anyone from all walks of life and any income bracket to be able to be unrestricted and come and enjoy community and expand within our community.
Yeah, I love that. And when it comes to these events, you mentioned some great ones there. What's your favorite part of Winterfest every year?
Polar plunge.
Why is it? Why is that?
Oh gosh. Well, come out and try it, and you'll see if you're not a fan as well. It's a very interesting experience. I'm known as a double dipper. So the first time I did this 15 years ago, the plunge, I plunged in and got out and went, is that all there is to it? And I ran around the circle and plunge back in again. And you know, for that split instant, the water felt warm until reality caught up with me. But it's an incredibly exhilarating challenge with nature to plunge into 32-degree water.
Yeah.
Take that risk and come back out. And there's hundreds of spectators that are cheering you on, and there are people come in different suits and different outfits, different costumes. Some folks really do it up. It's just a blast.
Yeah,
Yep.
I bet. Yeah, I love that. Jerry Schiffman, thanks so much. With the Empire Chamber of Commerce, thanks for joining us again and spending some of your evening to talk about that. Again, Empire Winterfest is this Saturday, and as Jerry mentioned, it's events from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now, today is Fat Tuesday, and that means one thing, Paczki. The rich, filled Polish pastries are beloved tradition. Paczki are deep-fried donuts, often filled with fruit preservatives, custard, or sweet cream, and dusted with powdered sugar. They're a staple of Fat Tuesday, also known as Paczki Day, marking the last day before Lent begins. And that does bring us to our question of the day today. The question is, what is your favorite Paczki filling? There are plenty of options, from chocolate to raspberry to strawberry. You can vote, make your voice heard. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. You can also vote on our Up North Live website, upnorthlive.com, and on our Facebook page. We will, of course, take a look at those results later on in the show. But first, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll check in with Ethan on what that forecast looks like tonight into tomorrow.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
I'm Dee Dee Gatton with the National News Desk in Washington, D.C., and this is your news update.
I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
Iran's foreign minister says the U.S. and Iran now agree on a set of guiding principles and are closer to a possible agreement. President Trump wants Iran to curb its nuclear weapons program that Iran claims is for peaceful purposes. Trump said he'd be indirectly involved in the second round of negotiations, which wrapped up today in Geneva. Civil rights icon and two-time presidential candidate Jesse Jackson has died at 84. This morning, his family announced he died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones. President Trump responded to Jackson's death on Truth Social, calling him a good man with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. Jackson lived with a severe neurodegenerative condition for over a decade. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is set to testify tomorrow in a major social media addiction trial. A 20-year-old woman claims Instagram and YouTube intentionally made their platforms addictive. She says she developed mental health problems after becoming addicted as a child. This will be Zuckerberg's first time testifying about this topic in front of a jury. And that's your news update.
The National News Desk can be seen on ABC 29 and 8 on Saturday night at 11:30 and Sundays at midnight. Now, bringing in our meteorologist, Ethan Foreman. Ethan, you can see behind you a decent amount of fog. Is that going to continue to be the case for folks tonight into tomorrow?
It sure is, Cody. We do have that freezing fog possible again tonight. We've seen that for the last 4 or 5 mornings, and that's going to be a possibility tonight as well. But the main story tonight is going to be that winter storm that moves in mainly after midnight, which we'll talk about in a moment as we look over Drummond Island, though, continuing to see that fog build in, and we're seeing that visibility being reduced, not so much at the airport in Drummond Island, but there on the camera network you saw that, and down to 0 miles in Sheboygan, a third of a mile in Rogers City, Alpena, and Oscoda. We'll see that fog continue to build in before that system moves in tonight, and you'll see on satellite and radar clouds already starting to move in west of I-75, and then there's that system off to the west that will start to move in as we head into our Wednesday, and so that's mainly going to be after midnight tonight. Winter weather advisories are in place for those generally along and east of US 131 and near and north of M55. That's where we'll have winter weather advisories in place for mostly freezing rain potential, with those areas to the south expiring at 9 a.m. Most other areas through 7 p.m. Wednesday, and then up to the north and east. That's where we have winter storm warnings in effect through Wednesday night at 10 p.m. for mostly the possibility of snow and sleet. As we head through the rest of the overnight hours, clouds will start to build in. There's that next system bringing already that snow, freezing rain, and rain as we head to about 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. And so areas generally south and west of Traverse City going to be primarily all rain. Areas further north and east, though, will have that freezing rain potential closer to areas like Gaylord, Grayling, Paczki, over toward Alpena, and then north of there, mostly snow. And that will continue to overspread the region into our Wednesday morning. This does look to wind down generally west of US 131 and south of M20 by the time we get to 11 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. That will gradually move its way to the northeast, but areas like Alpena, Rogers City, up into the UP, those impacts are not going to be done until at least sunset tomorrow evening. And we'll see that snow gradually tapering off, but you could see another round of snow on the backside of this as we head into Thursday morning. Not quite as impactful, but still something we'll have to monitor. Then as we head into Thursday night, another storm system moves in, bringing mostly rain to start, and then gradually we'll see temperatures dropping through the morning on Friday with snow and freezing rain on the backside of this into Friday morning and even into the afternoon hours. Perhaps could see a little bit of lake enhancement as well behind that system. Then as we look at those snowfall amounts, 4 to 8 inches can generally be expected from generally about Paczki to Alpena northward, and some of this could fall in the form of sleet as well, mostly freezing rain to our east, and then south and west, mostly rain. And ice accumulation precipitation between 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch can be expected, with the highest impacts near I-75. Up to the north tonight, we'll see lows in the 20s with mostly late snow arriving, and then late snow in the eastern UP changing over to freezing rain, mostly freezing rain and rain to the west with lows in the 30s, and then to the south, generally rain, but some freezing rain closer to Cadillac, Lake City, Houghton Lake, and Roscommon. Up to the north tomorrow, 20s for highs, mostly snow and sleet in the UP, mostly freezing rain in the eastern areas with some rain, and then to the west, some freezing rain, rain and snow, and then to the south, mostly rain with temperatures in the 40s and 50s. Extended forecast shows another chance of snow, sleet, and freezing rain by Friday before a cool down by the weekend.
Thank you, Ethan. Coming up, we're going to talk with Sports Director Harrison Beebe about some exciting basketball going on tonight. We'll be right back. Welcome back to UpNorthLive Unscripted, where we're now joined by Sports Director Harrison Beebe. And Harrison, right now, of course, the top of the sports docket, the Winter Olympics.
That's right. We don't really have a lot of Winter Olympic sports in the background graphic here, but we assure you we got a lot to focus in on. Specifically, Cody, want to do a quick update on our local Olympians who were supposed to compete this morning. Apologies to any of you that got up bright and early. They had a 4:30 start time scheduled for the ski aerials, and we know Boyne City's Kayla Kuhn and Gaylord's Winter Vanecki were supposed to be a part of that. Snowstorm and Winter Olympics, snowstorm came in, kind of brushed those to the side. So they're going to do their qualification rounds and the finals for that event. The main reason those two ladies are over there, all of that will take place tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. So once again, get up early, get the coffee going, and hopefully we get good news on those two ladies in their second Winter Olympic competition that will now be tomorrow morning. Let's hone in on tonight. In fact, right now, Big Ten basketball going on as Michigan visits Purdue. And Cody, that's the top 6 for the Big Ten standings right now. And you know the fun part of the top 6? Yeah. All 6 of those teams are ranked in the top 25. So, I'm looking ahead to the Big Ten Conference Tournament. Yeah. I'm pretty excited to see what goes down in that tournament. I believe it's in Chicago this year. I could be mistaken. But it should be a pretty exciting top 6 and 2 of the best going on right now, Michigan and Purdue. The Wolverines lead that one by 5 last check. Michigan State's going to be an 8:30 game a little later on. Spartans taking on UCLA. MSU's dropped 3 of their last 4. So we kind of need something to turn around for Tom Izzo and company. But March is on the horizon. It tends to be the time that the green and white gets things back on track. So we'll see. Something to follow. Both teams playing tonight. It's pretty rare. Michigan and Michigan State both playing the same evening. And we have that in store for tonight. So we'll get you highlights at 11, along with, drumroll please, those are our 2 games we're heading to tonight. Benzie Central Glen Lake, right down the road from us here at the station in Leelanau County. Lakers and Huskies, the top 2 teams in the Northwest Conference boys basketball race. Glen Lake already has the conference title clinched, but Benzie has a chance to get a signature win here before we go into districts. Boys districts begin next week. And speaking of tournaments, the hockey tournament's already underway. Sault Ste. Marie and Negaunee going to start the Division III pre-regional tonight up there in the Upper Peninsula, and we have highlights coming your way tonight at 11 of that matchup as well.
Love it. Thank you, Harrison. A lot to look forward to.
It's one of the best times of year.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of still ahead, we're going to take one last look at our question of the day and some of your comments. We'll be right back.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted, and we're going to close the show by taking a look at our question of the day. With it being Fat Tuesday, we asked, what is your favorite Paczki filling? And right now, custard is taking the cake with 35%, raspberry at 29%, then you have prune at 5%, blueberry 6%, strawberry 4%. I voted chocolate. I'm well in the minority there with that 3% and other. And we asked you to leave a comment at that 18%, and many of you did. We had Julie say powdered lemon. Lori said glazed custard. Jeanette said, I need one of each to test. And I wish that was an answer choice because I would have 100% clicked that one. Just give me one, and I'll let you know after you give me one of each which one's the best. Carol said strawberry. Julie said grew up with prune filling. And Mary said custard or raspberry. These are making me hungry. I'm going to have to go get a Paczki, so we're going to close the show there. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.